Hello everyone, Aiden Hostel here, once again answering questions for Dr. Gainer's class. Today we're going to talk about color and its use in the Viking Age. Color has always meant a lot of things to many peoples, especially the Vikings. Colors were a symbol of power, a symbol of wealth. And the colors that the Vikings used is the topic that we're going to hit today. And it is a very good question, JCS. The Viking Age was probably more colorful than you might think. However, there are some caveats. We don't have a lot of colors that have survived either being in the ground for hundreds of years or excavations, either purposeful or accidental finds. Sometimes the colors get destroyed during that. There are very little pigments that are left on these finds that we have dug out of the ground. But some key things to remember. We know the Vikings used bold colors to be seen. We also know that they used color pigments from numerous sources, such as ochre and charcoal, which they blended together along with a binding agent of sorts, whether it be milk products or eggs or linseed oil. Archaeologists and chemists have studied color use in the Viking Age and have actually come up with a Viking color chart, which I'm going to show to you in a few minutes. And we will go over all of the myriad of colors that were used and would be available in the Viking Age. So all this information I'm giving you comes from a wonderful website called Science Nordic. They had an article back in 2018 which covered a lot of what I'm going to show you. So let's get to that. Hopefully, if I've done this video properly, there will be a color wheel appear over top of me, and we will go through all of these colors. So, starting off with number one, we have lead white. Now, lead white was probably produced and traded across Europe and was probably not very expensive. It was made from lead. Number two, yellow. There are many variants of this strong yellow color depending on the purity of material. The yellow material occurs in Germany, Austria, Turkey, and Georgia. It was available in European markets and imported during the Viking Age, so it probably was not cheap. Number three, ochre. This earthly color was produced in Denmark and abroad. Ochre is found in many variants of yellow and depending on where it was made. Ochre was probably one of the cheapest and easiest pigments to produce or source. Number four, orange red. The red-orange color, red lead, contains pigment of lead white. It was probably produced and traded around Europe. It was widely used in the Middle Age and it was probably not very expensive. Number five, bright red. Cinnabar, which is the main ingredient, has a bright and bold red color and consists of fine crystallized minerals. The mineral occurs in many places in Central and Southern Europe, specifically in Spain, and could have been sold from there, and it was probably pretty expensive. Number six, iron oxide red. Iron oxide is found in many varieties from yellowish red to bluish red and gets its color from soil clay. Iron oxide occurs in many places around Europe and was probably inexpensive to buy. Number seven, brown. Umber is a brown pigment from soil used raw or burnt to achieve a different shade. You may have remembered some of your crayon colors. Crayola has a burnt umber and a raw umber. Those are inspired by those colors that we're discussing right now. The earthly color comes primarily from Central and Southern Europe and was probably inexpensive. Number 8, copper green. This green color comes from the copper mineral malachite. When archaeologists first discovered it, it was painted on a brown base, which gave it the color shown here. It was probably produced in Europe and imported to Denmark, so it could have been relatively expensive. Number 9. Blue. The blue color, vivintine, is a material iron and can appear as a blue-black color. Vivintine material is found throughout Europe, but archaeologists do not know whether it was an expensive pigment to buy. Number 10. Vivintine plus lead white. This combination of vivintine and white produced a blue-gray color. Archaeologists do not know which shade was used, and it could well have looked rather different to this example. They could have made it darker or lighter depending on the amount of lead white that was mixed in. Number 11. Charcoal black and lead white. And composed of crushed charcoal, which produced a deep, rich black color, it was often blended with white lead and therefore existed in many different shades, as you can see from the difference between 11 and 12. Charcoal black was especially easy to produce and was therefore the cheapest pigment of all. So as you can see, there were many varied colors available to the Vikings in the Viking Age. And they would have modified these colors as they seen fit, as their use was needed, by either adding things like lead white or darkening them with charcoal. As you can see here, this would have been painted with a bright red from cinnabar and a charcoal black. Would have been moderately expensive because of the red, but the black would have been fairly easy to make or procure. We don't know exactly all the different shades that were used, but this gives you kind of an idea of what was available. I hope that answers your question, and I look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you.